everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. I'm not going to talk about the C word because the media is already flooded with it, so we're going to get straight into part 2 of becoming Grimsby. And as you can see, I've made my little Bolero jacket, and it's got like a cute little button on it. Don't know where you can see it. It's like a shiny blue button. So this is the Bolero. It just cuts across the back rail like cropped, and this video is late mostly because I'm working nights this month at the nursing home and I just haven't had the energy really. Plus this took a while to make, like there was a lot of figuring out to do with it, and like it's got elasticated sleeves. I had to draft this from scratch. This is like the first ever experience I've had with draping, so I'm really happy with that, how that turned out. I had to pattern match this gold trim and then pattern draft poofy princess shoulders. But I'm super happy with how it turned out, so let's get right into the video. This is the Bolero. It's gonna just cut across here, and the back is just, you know, it goes across the back here, but it's gonna have puff sleeves, and hopefully, depending on how we're fixed for fabric, it's going to have long big flared sleeves coming out of the puff sleeves. And the puff sleeves are going to be slit like a bard, like real medieval, so it's going to have like the stripes sticking out of it, kind of like Snow White for lack of a better example. And I'm going to more than likely have a fancy button or two here so that I can just slip it on and off. So we just need to sew these up, put in the lining and the sleeves, do the buttons last probably, and I'm thinking of doing like bias binding around here, but we'll see how we get on. It's not a big deal, it'd make it a little bit nicer, but even if I just line it, it'll look very clean and finished. And then in the next video, what I'm most likely going to do is work on the bloomers and then leave the corset till last because corsets are hard. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this shit. So I'm going to start by pinning my front and back pieces right sides together at the shoulder seam and side seam. Considering the fact that I drafted this pattern off the mannequin, or to be more specific, I draped it off the mannequin, it went pretty well for a first attempt. I'm repeating this step with the lining fabric. I'm attaching the lining by placing the outer fabric and the lining fabric right sides together and sewing along the top edge and the bottom edge. clipping the seam allowance on the convex, I want to say, convex curves, the ones that look like smiles rather than ends. So like, by doing this, just snipping it along convex curves, what it does is it allows the fabric more movement, and it means that when you turn this right way out, it'll sit a lot flatter. Actually, I'm just gonna trim that one there because it's a bulky seam, so I'll just trim that and snip it. Just be very careful not to snip your stitching, otherwise you're gonna have to go back and sew the whole thing again. So, the difference between this and like notching, which is cutting out little triangle wedges out of your curves, is that like this is like going down this way, so you snip it, but if it was going up this way, you would notch it. So there's a little sewing fact for you, that they are not interchangeable and they have a purpose. Because up until very recently, I thought that they were interchangeable and that you could do either snipping and notching, and most of the time I was just doing snipping. But turns out there is a reason for both of them, so the more you know. Now onto the sleeves. These are my puff sleeves. They're uneven at the bottom because I kind of winged this. This is not like a pattern that I started with. It was more like I started with just the blue as a puff sleeve, but then I added the gold in. So I have them pinned all right sides together. Fine crafty work there. So I'm just going to sew all the panels together on both sleeves and go from there. We'll gather it, puff it up and see how it goes. And like I said, it's very uneven, so we're going to make it fit. Even if we have to trim bits off, it will work, whether it wants to or not. So, hi, I'm down here. We've worked out the technical difficulties with sleeves, particularly sewing them to the shoulders. Gathering is not the way to go. Pleating is, apparently. So I've just kind of pleated the top so that the two blues will touch and the gold will kind of like be trapped in underneath a little. And now that I have this sorted, I'm going to try very gently, very slowly, very carefully to sew it together. Pray for me, lads. So if you're wondering why I'm in my pajamas, I just came off a 12-hour night shift, but we are doing this. So here's where things get a bit fiddly. I'm using ribbon to make a cuff for the sleeves, and I'm just sewing it right sides together around the bottom edge of the sleeve. And once I'm done that, I'm going to turn it out and iron it down, and we'll see how we get on from there. Now I'm just going to fold down the seam allowance on the inside so it's nice and flat, and then I'm putting a piece of elastic around the sleeve that's about an inch less than the diameter of my bicep, and this is going to gather the sleeve in such a way that it's going to be nice and comfy because it's going to stretch. So I've just come back from the ironing table. I've flattened down all the seams and all the edges so that they're nice and smooth, and I'm just going to top stitch around the top and bottom edge so that the collar and the neckline and then the bottom seam, they all sit nice and flat with the lining so it's not all puffy and bulgy. So there you have it, that's how I made this Bolero. And we are now one step closer to completing my cosplay, which I hope won't be in vain, considering that with everything that's going on at the moment, London Comic Con may or may not be cancelled. So fingers crossed that it won't be, and that the cast of Critical Role are going to be there, because a lot of this is, I don't want to say I'm doing it for them, but like it's influenced by them. I'm a big fan of the show, and I just want to show off like my own original character to them. I think that would be like really sweet. So hopefully the con will still go ahead, and that, but even if it doesn't, at least I have this cosplay done. I can use it whenever I want, and it's a big sewing challenge for me to like do this, because like I said before, this is all drafted from the mannequin true draping and not true like flat pattern drafting, which is what I have been trained to do, but draping is totally new. But anyway, rambling aside, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm really happy with the progress. I might have to change one or two designs on the character based on whether or not I can order stuff in, because obviously like I know China's kind of seen the worst of it over, but I still want to be safe. I don't want to order stuff in just in case there's stuff on the packaging, because I'll be fine, but I'm around a lot of vulnerable people who will most certainly not be fine if I end up carrying a virus into work, or some of my friends have asthma and stuff like that. So, you know, I can't run the risk of being a carrier, so I might not order a cosplay wig. I was hoping to have like a white wig and do like really long white pigtails or like plaits. I hadn't decided yet, but I think I'm gonna err on the side of caution and just go with, I might dye my hair a little bit more red and top up the red in my hair and just go with that, because at least it's an original character design. Nobody can say, oh well, that's not accurate. It's my character. It's accurate if I say it's accurate. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're enjoying the series, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or any videos you want me to cover in the future, just hit the comments. I love hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to make the next part of this cosplay and show it off. And I'm really excited with how this is going. Like I'm loving this beret. There's it. And I think that it's starting to come together with like the puffy sleeves and starting to feel a bit more bardic. So I'm gonna have to work on my character like as a character, so like voice, speech patterns, personality, and essentially just work on my acting game, which is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun side pet project for the future. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. I hope you're all being safe. Wash your hands, stay away from people, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!